Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we're Canada Visa News, and today we've got a story that's making waves across the country. Stick around if you want to find out why thousands of Indian students are hitting the streets in Canada and what's really behind their fight to stay in the country. So, here's the scoop. There's been a big uproar among Indian students in Canada recently. Why? Because of some new immigration policy changes that have them worried about their futures. With the threat of deportation looming, these students are coming together to protest and make their voices heard. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss an update on important topics like this. All right, let's jump right in. So here's what's going on. In recent months, Indian students in Canada have been protesting against new immigration policies that could put their status and future in jeopardy. These changes, announced by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government, include tighter restrictions on study permits, which have many students fearing they might be sent back home. Over 70,000 international students have mobilized in cities across Canada, demanding changes to these policies. Many of these students came to Canada with dreams of studying, working, and eventually staying permanently. But now they're facing unexpected challenges and significant debt because of these new rules. One of the major issues is a new provincial policy that has cut permanent residency nominations by 25%. This change has left many students worried about their chances of staying in Canada. Imagine spending years working hard, paying taxes, and earning points for permanent residency, only to face the possibility of deportation. That's the reality for some students right now. A former international student shared his frustration, saying he invested 6 crucial years of his life into studying and working in Canada, only to feel abandoned by the system. This sense of betrayal is fueling the protests we're seeing. But it's not just about the study permits. The Canadian government recently announced they're cutting back on the number of temporary foreign workers allowed in the country. This move reverses expansions made just 2 years ago and aims to address concerns about the strain on Canada's resources. The government is also looking at reducing permanent residency streams, which has further alarmed many students and workers. Protests have erupted in several provinces, including Ontario, Manitoba, Prince Edward Island, and British Columbia. These demonstrations have become a platform for students to express their frustration and demand fair treatment. From the streets of bustling Toronto to the serene landscapes of Prince Edward Island, students are rallying for their right to stay in Canada. The protests first started in Prince Edward Island back in May and have since spread. Students are calling for an increase in the number of Provincial Nominee Program (PNP) slots, which are crucial for those seeking permanent residency. Currently, the number of slots is limited, and the competition is fierce. The sudden reduction in these slots has left many students feeling vulnerable and uncertain about their futures. In cities like Vancouver and Winnipeg, the protests are gaining momentum. Students are chanting slogans like, "Good enough to work, good enough to stay, and don't blame us, fix your system." They're demanding more fairness in the selection process for the PNP and better protection against exploitation. One rally participant, B. Jinder Singh, a permanent resident, voiced his support for the students, saying it's not fair to change the rules midway through the process. He believes that once people fulfill their requirements, they should be able to secure their future without sudden policy shifts. As these protests continue, there's growing pressure on the Canadian government to address these concerns. Students and workers are calling for increased PNP slots, faster processing times, and clearer, more transparent immigration policies. That's a wrap for today's video. What do you think about these policy changes and the student protests? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video. Take care.